We're going to start with the nation. Terrorists release photos of 62 train attack hostages. Zenith wins Nigeria's Best Bank Award. Nigerians shun 30 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines. Governors seek halt to $418 million Paris Club fee deductions. ASU frustrating negotiations, says federal government. DSS warns of attacks on worship centers, relaxation joints, and infrastructure. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Yeah, I'll take the picture story. So yesterday, many of us saw pictures of the pictures that were released by the terrorists that attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train almost a month ago right now, today. And there were about 62 of those victims that were captured in the pictures. There were about 4 pictures. They were grouped into 4 different groups. We saw women, children were there, the elderly were amongst them. And it's just, you know, sad to see. This particular one, a lot of people noticed that they had like wrappers to cover where they were. And many people were saying that because the last time they posted pictures, we saw a lot of people were guessing their location. And so they're thinking maybe these terrorists are thinking, you know, they're reading our messages and hearing what we're saying and probably did that so that it would be harder to try to trace them. But the report in the nation just, you know, tried to remind us what happened after the attack and that we remember the MD of the Bank of Agriculture that was released. He had said that they took them from the attack location to another place, many kilometers away in a car, and then from then on, they walked through the forest, and they stopped at different camps before they got to their final destination. And they had medical personnel to help take care of them and everything. So I guess this is the terrorist way to say that these people are still good, health-wise. Yes, we can see that.
But they're putting faces to this. We know half the faces to this attack. We know you now see the faces, and you can see how urgent it is to get them out. Another story in the nation?
Yes, so the World Health Organization has said that Nigeria and other African countries are performing woefully in the COVID-19 vaccine administration. They said this has been like the largest rollout of vaccines to African countries since this COVID-19 pandemic started, and it's just 18.7% of Africans that have taken this vaccine. Federal government is also saying that according to the Primary Healthcare Development Agency in Nigeria, that a lot of us are not taking the second doses of the vaccine. So a few million of people have taken the first dose, but they are not really going back. They are rejecting the second doses. We're going to be having over 30 million doses of vaccine going to waste because people are not going back. So they are trying to encourage people to go back and take the...
Probably expired already.
This is Johnson & Johnson, which is a 1 dose. They're asking people to go and take this vaccine.
So probably expired. You see, what is sad is that God forbid there's a 5th wave or something, something happens. And then we start blaming the international community for not sending us vaccines and not sending us doses. But they send to us now about 30 million about to waste.
Yeah, we need to do better. The campaign needs to be better because really right now the atmosphere is almost everything is gone.
Except when you want to fly. They will not tell you to wear this mask by force. Please, PDP has now started their screening. As I did not have any story to take, I'm going to take PDP story.
I was actually going to take it, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. No. The only part I'm taking is about the screening, about the list of people that are going to be getting screening. I know another story carries the fact that they've jettisoned any form of zoning and it's now free for all. But this is talking about the fact that screening has started. Yes, 17 aspirants are going to be going through the screening. I don't know. There are a bit silence about. I thought at the 17 people, all of them paying for the tickets. They've all paid for the tickets. What are the questions what are they trying to find out during the screening process? Those are the questions I'd like to hear. But all you just said was screening has started.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm smiling because I'm not going to tell you a story I talked about. This is after the story. I'm like, okay, well, you are right. Go ahead. Okay, well, so I was going to take that story in the nation about the fact that the 36 governors are trying to get the Federal High Court to stay the execution on payment of the $418 million to consultants for the Paris Club refund. So I think this is supposed to be paid to consultants from states and the federal government consultants who are being owed money. So they were going to deduct $480 million. I'm wondering how much exactly do we owe these consultants? But so they're asking the court to please stay action on that and not allow those money to be released to the consultants for now. But it's just bizarre that can consultants actually be owed that much?
Yeah.
Let me move quickly now to presidency. Obi's camp protest as PDP dumps zoning. Screening begins on Friday. Ogun Governor Abeokuta declares support for Osinbajo presidential bid. Nigeria's others woefully lagging in COVID-19. We talked about that. Lagos businessman battles Osun Prince, Osun Prince and wife over ₦6 million diesel deal. Super TV CEO court stops bankers cross-examination. Imo explosion, relatives absent as victims get mass burial. Ogun Morgue's worker cuts off corpse's head for 50,000 naira.
Yes. So I have that.
I'm almost done. Economic crisis worsens as forex inflows fall by 9.58 billion. Clearing agents kick as customs reintroduce revaluation, which we talked about yesterday, next week. Okay, yes, Miriam, you're going to start with that.
A mortuary attendant, his name is Kushimo Lukman. He was working at Nabbed at Okeyidi Abule Oloni in Abeokuta, and he was arrested by the government-owned government-owned security outfit Social Orientation and Safety Corps. He had the allegation is that a body was brought to the mortuary, a young boy who had died of kidney disease. Parents came, he helped them, and they buried the child. And after they had left, later at night, he went back there, exhumed the body, and severed the head of the corpse. Thankfully, one of the security operatives was there, and they caught him red-handed. But he did not even give it up. They fought until that security operative overpowered him before they were able to arrest him and get that head from him. He said that a particular chief had asked him to bring it for. He said that the head was requested by a certain Chief Ifalonishe, a.k.a. Lanroe, at the rate of 50,000 naira, and was delivered to a designated point in Abeokuta. Nigeria, not even dead bodies are safe. So anyway, thankfully, he's been arrested by the police.
This is so pathetic. I've heard quite a bit of this kind of stories, but this is a bit too gruesome.
Just for 50,000, he doesn't want to release the head.
He was willing to fight.
It's bad another child dies. It's bad another a little boy that died.
You were even involved in burying that child with the parents. You must have seen how sad it is.
It's about humanity. It's about our feelings. It's about
compassion. I was going to talk quickly about the zoning. So PDP, obviously, they're likely to dump the zoning idea. They're saying that they're going to go for consensus candidate. Although Peter Obi's spokesperson was saying that it's completely unfair, you know, to actually, I think it was Mr. Valentine Obiano was saying, he's a media aide for former Governor Anambra State, was saying that the party's decision, although it's going to be supreme, but it will be injustice if the Southeast was denied the presidential ticket. And from what it all is looking like, they're going to have a meeting next week, Wednesday, where they're going to decide. And one of the spokespersons for the party was saying, Ologun Agba was saying that, listen, he was recalling that there was a time where the former president, even though they had zoned the ticket to a certain region, he still ran for office to test his popularity. That even though they don't do zoning, the fact that everybody constitutionally allowed to run for office will be allowed to run for office. And if you still want to, if the Southeast candidates can still run and want to run and test the popularity, they should go ahead and run. But either way, they're going to follow the Constitution, which allows that every single person who is competent to run for office. Another story in Punch.
Yes, so Justice Yetunde Adesanya of the Lagos High Court, sitting at the Tafawa Balewa Square Tuesday, dismissed the attempt by Chidinma Ojukwu's counsel. You know, the Super TV's mother. It's been in court, and there was one of her counsels wanted to bring to witness some account officers in conjunction with his account balance at the time that he died. But the justice said that they are not supposed to. They have not sworn an oath. They cannot be witnesses. They can bring exhibits, can bring the papers, and it will be admitted as exhibits. I think about 2 bankers from one of these banks, I think GTB, brought the papers and it was admitted, but they were not put there as witnesses for the case. It's been adjourned to the 28th of April.
Have a story in Punch?
Yes, I want to take the Lagos businessman story. So, you know, the way supplies happen, a businessman, Tony Fine Country, Fine Country, has accused an Osun State business couple Gogwade and Ademiluyi and his wife Fumilayo of defrauding him of 6.6 million naira. So they asked him to supply them diesel.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he supplied them the diesel. And he said he didn't have the funds. They said for 2 weeks they would pay him after 2 weeks. They gave him a post-dated check, gave him an LPO, the LPO, local purchase order, which he used to process the loan from a microfinance bank with the expectation that they would pay him back. And now, stories. He hasn't gotten the payment, and all the requests, he said, so he has got, all the requests he's been making, the post-dated check isn't going through, and it has expired. The post-dated check has expired since the October 11th last year, and there's nothing going on till date.
Interesting. I mean, these are.
Yeah, it just shows you that I think the problem that he has is that the caliber of people, because they said that person is a prince. So even when he was arrested, after a few days, he was let go, and then he disappeared on him. And he says, for now, all the attention is on him. His name has been sent to different contacts that he has as a bad debtor, and he's just asking for help.
Okay, let me go on a quick break now. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Now moving on quickly to Daily Sun. DSS alleges plan to bomb worship centers and public places. 2023, give Southeast presidential tickets. Kalu tells APC and PDP. Anglican Church to federal government step up efforts in tackling insecurity economic challenges. How I intend to fight corruption if elected, says Peter Obi. FG stops striking varsity workers' salary. Assault, court orders CCT chairman Umar to appear before Senate probe panel. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Yes, so the DSS has raised an alarm over what it calls a ploy by a group of, unscrupulous people, criminal gangs, that they say the allegation is that they're coming together, that these different gangs want to come together and form one body and then go about terrorizing Nigerians. And their plan is to detonate bombs in relaxation centers, places where a lot of people gather, like worship centers, especially during the holiday period. And so they're, telling Nigerians to be, to pay attention. If you have any information, be willing to pass it across, and also asking people who own these places, relaxation centers, worship centers, places where people just spend, a lot of people go to make sure that they put the basic security measures in those areas, but also assuring us that they're doing everything possible to make sure that nothing bad comes to us, and of course they would make sure that these people are apprehended and dealt with.
Okay, so the Chief Whip of the Senate, Dr. Orji Uzor-Kalu, has expressed shock at the number of people coming out as presidential aspirants from the South and Southwest zones, asking trying to be president. According to him, the right thing to do is for these two major political parties to zone their presidential candidates to the Southeast. According what he said specifically, he said the reality is that the North is more advantageous to win elections in this democratic setting that we have right now. And he's saying that it's quite embarrassing that these aspirants within the APC and PDP have no single respect and concern for the Southeast. I had thought that they would think about the Southeast. I thought they would support us. Unfortunately, they aren't. And what they're doing right is hypocritical, unjustifiable, and inordinate. That the least you can expect, and the only reason why he might step down is if these two parties don't zone appropriately to the Southeast, that it's actually unfair for them to actually be all aspiring to be president, when you all know that since 1999, the Southeast has not had a turn in the presidency. Okay.
Yes, so we know this no work, no pay policy on striking workers. It seems like the federal government has implemented it, because from the month of March, the striking lecturers are saying that they've not received their salaries. Some said their salaries were not complete. And so a lot of stakeholders are really not happy about what is going on, said this is not the way to go. The federal government shouldn't have exhausted all the dialogue approaches that they are supposed to be having. But when you now implement no work, no pay, you are making the matters worse. ASU and the other unions are saying, on the other hand, that they too have a no pay, no work policy. So, and there's no semester that will start before another one. So by the time they finish the reconciliation and the federal government is ready to implement, they will now start the semesters they have missed from the beginning, and all their monies will be paid. And this is not the way to go. I really don't know what to say.
I want to really take the Peter Obi story. It's been doing the rounds, consulting with different stakeholders across different states. So he was speaking specifically in Ogun State, and he maintained that he has an approach to fighting corruption. Says we must vote for integrity. That sounds like I've heard it before. So I'm really not, I wasn't so moved. But when I heard the way he broke down how he wants to fight, he said they should ask, based on his track record in Anambra State, that if the person in charge, if the leadership isn't corrupt, and his immediate family and everybody around him knows that they should not approach him on anything corrupt, it would trickle down. That 70% of corruption starts from the head. He also mentioned how he left 75 billion naira in the coffers of the state. He wouldn't have done that if it was corruption. They've investigated him several times and they found nothing. He didn't give anybody land. He did not bribe anybody. And the system within his space, he supported innocent by buying 1,000 vehicles and paying up front to support the businesses. That he said the insecurity challenges we're facing in Nigeria right now is born out of the fact that a lot of people are unemployed. And that if we get people good jobs, we would reduce the number of people resorting to crime. So he's telling people that votes for someone who has track record.
One thing he also said, I was really interested, vote for somebody who can walk. Who's ready to walk?
Who can walk the streets 6 in the morning till
check what is happening.
You know?
at night.
Moving on quickly now to Vanguard. Storm over plots to draft Jonathan as APC flag. How did I miss that story? I didn't read it. Storm over plot to draft Jonathan as APC flag bearer. Nigeria has hope, says Obaseki. Ogun will support your presidential ambition, Abiodun tells Osinbajo. Hashtag NSAS panel issues arrest warrant on police commissioner. Insecurity, DSS warns of more bomb explosions in public places. Mortuary attendant nabbed for cutting off corpse's head in Ogun. High unemployment rates the cause of the insecurity we have, says Peter Obi. Let's find another story. Why we shut land borders for 2 years, says Buhari. Shown Ogbomoso indigenes fault delay in the announcement of the new monarch. Okay, who's starting off?
Okay, let me start off. This is the Independent Investigation Panel on Human Rights Violations by the defunct SARS and other units of the Nigerian Police Force has issued the warrant of arrest of a commissioner of police in charge of legal services at the force headquarters, CP Igbe Ochogo. And so his arrest is based on the fact that sometime in June 2017, this man was Emeka Alozie, John Emeka Alozie, who lives in Lekki, Nigeria, said 6 SARS operatives stormed into their house and took him away. And it went to court. They kept him they detained him for so long. It went to court. There's the wife talking about it. And even though after the court case, they were asked to release him, the police still did not, adhere to court orders. And it's 2022. This particular panel had also asked for him to show up 5 times, they say, and he refused to show up, just to come and give his own side of story, bring the case file on this particular person, why he had been unlawfully arrested and detained over this period, and the CP has not shown up. And so what they have decided to do is, ask that he be arrested wherever he is, and let's see what, comes of this. Why would there's just this disrespect really for the judiciary, and we see it over and over again. And sometimes also these panels that have been set, it's as if they're just there to, they really do not have any authority to ask people to come before them, and I hope that they are, to appear before them, and hopefully if he's arrested, we would hear why he would unlawfully arrest.
So that independence that we were taught in school, that the government made up of executives,
the checks and balance that we thought were taught in school.
We can't call you and
in practicality.
Even the ministers, you call them sometimes, they don't show up.
Yeah, they don't answer. So the president has said that the government shut the nation's borders to protect farmers. He was saying this at a meeting with the president of the African Development Bank. And they were talking about the plans they've had to help us, especially this Russia-Ukraine war that is affecting food. So they said the African Development Bank has earmarked $1.5 billion Africa Emergency Food to support farmers to ensure that we are not, we don't fall with all these things happening between Russia and Ukraine. And the president was thanking them, saying, thank God you know our strengths and our weaknesses, and you're helping us, show up that the world did not expect that we'll survive COVID-19. Now hunger is coming, and they mentioned the prices of food that has gone up. Wheat has gone up about 60%, maize, grains, and all that. But this money that has been earmarked to be given to farmers to help them, show up.
The money is not good.
Let it get to the farmers.
It's insecurity, because the farmers cannot go to the farm, the goods cannot leave the farm. These are the real issues we do.
We have to wrap up. So our vice president is doing the rounds across the country. He's visiting, and he's been to Ogun State, his home state. And there was received by the governor, Abeokuta, and the governor said that they will support him. They're pleased for his decision to run for office, and that specifically he said your steadfastness, integrity and character are well known. You have been serving the country for 7 years, and there's no doubt that you do well as president. So the governor of Ogun State is also showing his support, although the vice president himself said that he owes nobody any allegiance except for the Constitution and the people of Nigeria, who he has sworn an oath to. Those are the people that
the message.
That he owes. No, we don't understand any message. That's what he
just said the message.
That's what he said.
But
you can have your own understanding.
He didn't send any message. You can.
Well, the Kogi State governor has bought. He's the first to buy the ticket.
Oh, 100 million naira. The guy gave money. He's ready.
Very, very ready.
Ready for business.
So maybe they contributed.
No, they did not say anything about contribution. They said he's the first. They mentioned that he's the first. And also, they talked about the fact that this is the person that does not betray people. I don't know why they would say that.
Asha doesn't pay, though.
No, Asha doesn't need to pay. People will pay.
For him.
Several people will volunteer.
Who else? VP is yet to pay. Okay, we'll see. This 100 million is a lot of money. That itself is a deterrent. Okay, that's going to break. It's Wednesday. When we come back, we go to our hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
100 million.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.